My War Robots videos are doing the best of anything that I've done thus far on YouTube, so yay! So I'm doing more of that. Today, this is a kind of a random spin-off video. I got a hover bot recently, and I've heard mostly not great stuff about it. That's why I've been kind of slow to accrue the components. And I mean, it's kind of a cheaper bot among the component robots. However, well, even so, like Adrian Chong calls it gimmicky, and in one of his funnier videos with his clan, they used a hoverbot from Hangar X, and all the Champion League players despised it because it was very difficult to use. However, there was something very interesting about my hoverbot I noticed as I started to level it up. It has a surprisingly large hit pool, considering it's a flying tin can. And so I looked into the numbers, and I was surprised. So all the numbers, just for comparison's sake, are measured at level 12. And all this information, of course, can be found at the War Robots website, like I said for the video where how I get my numbers. But here are the numbers for the hoverbot. The hoverbot has 175,000 hit points, and it can move at 50 kilometers an hour. Now, that probably doesn't mean anything to you right now, unless you know all the numbers of everything else. So let me put that into perspective. A Bulwark has 175,000 hit points and moves at 40 kilometers an hour. Now, admittedly, the Bulwark has an interesting mechanic where it has two different shields that alternate. Now, of course, that gives it edge in terms of playing tanky. However, that doesn't change the fact that they have the same hit points, the Bulwark and the hoverbot. And so the hoverbot is weirdly tanky. I mean, I kind of looked at the hoverbot and thought it was going to be a slightly better version of the Rogtka, but the Rogtka has 150,000 health and moves at 60 kilometers an hour. So it's tankier than a Rogtka, and it has more firepower than a Rogtka. And so, when thinking about the Rogtka has the same firepower as an Lancelot. So, of course, I kind of want to look into the whole Lancelot. And the Lancelot, now, of course, granted, it has a shield, a physical shield, and you can put an Ansel on it, which makes it tanky. However, with all the different weapons nowadays, those shields can be taken down pretty quickly. The Lancelot only has 170,000 health, and it moves at 30 kilometers an hour. So the hoverbot has more HP than the Lancelot. So, yeah. And it just kind of... And of course, I compare everything on this channel to the Inquisitor, because I have two of them, and I kind of emphasized that robot because I thought it looked cool, so now I'm trying to get good with them. And the Inquisitor at level 12, Mark 1, all this Mark 1, has 165,000 health and moves at 40 kilometers an hour. So it's tankier than the Inquisitor. So I was thinking about this, and I mean, if you want some other numbers thrown out, I mean, I'll probably include some sort of little chart or timeline sort of structured thing to show a bunch of bots I looked at in order from least hit points to most hit points. And some of the robots that have the most hit points, of course, the one with the most hit points is the Raijin, 250,000, moves at 36 kilometers an hour. The Leo, 226,000 hit points, 35 kilometers an hour. The Bulgasari and the Fury both have 190,000 hit points. The Bulgasari, of course, moves at 40 kilometers an hour, though, and the Fury only at 33. Which, I mean, and the Bulgasari has a physical shield, so, I mean, just more evidence of how broken the dash bots are. And the other 2 dash bots both have 150,000 health each. The Butch has 185,000, though no one's probably complaining about that. Although, another interesting set of numbers I found were the Griffin and the Raven. They both have the same amount of hit points, the same weapon setup, only the Raven moves at 44 kilometers an hour while the Griffin moves at 35, and the Raven has an extra jump. I mean, did we need this redundancy? The Carnage, of course, because I always have to bring up the Carnage because it used to be one of my favorites, only has 114,000 health and 40 kilometers an hour. It's very underwhelming. Looking at the numbers, it's no wonder it dies so fast in higher level play. And I'll just leave this kind of list here. Maybe I'll include the numbers I got in the description so you can look those over. But I mean, this is just interesting to me. And I almost wonder if the hover ability on the hover bot is one of the weakest features on the bot. Because the bot itself is tanky and moves fast compared to everything else around it. And it doesn't have a bad weapon spread. So, I mean, once I get it properly leveled and I play with it some more, maybe I'll change my mind, but I'm just looking at it and it almost seems like the hover ability is to the bot's detriment. And I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too far into this, and of course I'm not accounting for shields, which can play a big part, but I don't know. Maybe after I get some more of these Inquisitor videos out, maybe I'll try doing some experiments with the hover bot, because this is a weird bot. I mean, any thoughts in the comments on this thing are welcome. Agree, disagree. You get the idea. Have you had any weird experiences with the hoverbot? I mean, it's a weird bot. But, thanks for watching, especially if you got this far, and I'll see you in the next one.